Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Knit California channel. My name is Leslie. I'm Knit California here on YouTube and also over on Instagram and TikTok, and today we're talking about my 2024 knitting goals. We are solidly into the new year as I'm filming this on January 6th, 2024, and I've been thinking about my knitting goals for definitely over a week now, and I thought it was time that I come on here and share them with you. Before we get into my 2024 goals though, I did want to take a quick look back at my 2023 goals and let you know whether or not I actually completed them or not. So I have got notes here. Alright, I got 2 notebooks and my phone that I use to keep track of things on here, just on like the notes app. And we're gonna get through all of this. So let's start with my 2023 goals. What were my 2023 goals? I had a few. So the first section was related to knitting. I really wanted to knit seasonally, and I broke down like my knitting goals by season basically. So in the first quarter of the year, in winter, I was really working hard on my raglan sweater knits and comparison series, and I did get this complete. I can't believe that this was just a year ago. This feels like so long ago. If you don't know what I'm talking about, at the end of 2022 and the beginning of 2023, I set a goal for myself to knit 6 sweaters. 3 of them were drop shoulder and 3 of them were raglan. And they were relatively popular sweater patterns that I wanted to knit and compare and contrast the patterns themselves, the yarn used for each, and the wearability and like the knitting process for each of them. And so I did that. I knit 3 sweaters, 3 drop shoulders at the end of 2022, and I have a whole comparison video of that. And then in the winter, the first quarter of 2023 is when I knit my 3 raglans. I knit the Cozy Classic raglan, I knit the Lento, and I knit the, what was the third one? And the Semper sweater by the Knit Pearl Girl. And then I did a whole video comparing and contrasting them. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can definitely go back and watch that video. I put a lot of hard work into it, and it was really fun to knit and to make. I'm all over the place today. We're only 3 minutes into the video. Oh boy. Okay. In the springtime, I really wanted to knit short sleeve tops and tank tops that I could wear in warm weather and that were work appropriate. I knit 2 short sleeve ranunculus sweaters, and I knit 3 tank tops this spring and summer. So I would say, check, yeah, I got that complete. I definitely wanted to knit more. I thought I would have more time to knit short sleeve tops and tanks throughout the spring and the summer, but I did have like some other bigger knits and like commitments that I committed to that took up some of that time that I really honestly wish I hadn't have done. Okay, this summer, my original goal was socks, exclamation point, and Ireland knitting, exclamation point. In no way, in no shape, in no form did I knit any socks this year. What I really wanted to do was to like dedicate at least a whole month to trying out different patterns, different sock construction, and really seeing if I can get into knitting socks, and that just like didn't happen. There was too much other stuff going on, and I really didn't want to. I don't have any plans to do that this year, but you never know what's gonna happen. I change my mind all the time. And then Ireland knitting, I also wanted to cast on and knit at least 1, if not 2 sweaters, specifically for the Irish knitting tour in October. My dog is drinking water. which I did cast on 2 sweaters, but I immediately got overwhelmed and did not knit either of them. One of them got frogged as soon as I got back from Ireland, and one of them is still on the needles, and I would like to finish it maybe before this year's Irish knitting tour. If you're interested in that, there is more information in the description box below because we are going back to Ireland. I am so excited. Let's see. And then lastly, in the fall, I wanted to do another like themed quarter again, similar to like knitting 3 raglans and comparing them. So I had knitting theme TBD, which I didn't really do. I didn't have an official theme, but what I did kind of coin in the fall of this year was like my serotonin cast-ons, which I am continuing into 2024. So that was kind of a like, yeah, I sort of had a theme, but like not really with the serotonin cast-ons. And those were my knitting goals for 2023. Additionally, I had 2 other main goals. One was for my yarn stash. If you remember, my yarn stash goal was to have a net negative yarn stash for 2023, which means I wanted to end the year with less yarn than I was starting with. I started the year with about 335 skeins of yarn, and this net negative absolutely did not happen. I ended the year with over 400 skeins, so we are going to be talking a lot more about the current state of my yarn stash in another video. I think that's going to come out later in January because I've been wanting to film it, but there's just too many other videos and ideas going on in my head that I've got to get out first. So I do have a yarn stash update video planned and coming this month. And then lastly was wearing my knits, and I think I absolutely smashed this goal. I put up a video a week or so ago called Did I Wear My Knits in 2023, and I walked through all of the tracking and stats and analysis that I did for wearing my knits in 2023, and yeah, I wore a knit over 50% of the days in 2023, so I do think I hit that goal. So that was 23. I think, you know, we can say about 80% complete, which I think is pretty good considering that in general, you're a completely different person at the end of the year than you are at the beginning of the year. So we set all these goals at the beginning of the year in January, and it really truly is a miracle if we stick to any/all of them by December. So with that, I'm going to talk to you about my 2024 goals. Okay. I actually have very similar goals for 2024, and I wrote them all down in my knitting bullet journal, which I have a couple videos. I have a playlist about my knitting bullet journal on my channel if you're interested in checking that out. But let's start with the knitting goals for 2024. I would love to complete my Make 9. I think this is probably one of the most unrealistic goals on my 2024 goals list. I also had a video come out recently walking you through my 2024 Make 9 projects. If you don't know what it is, basically it's just a list of 9 patterns that one would like to knit during the year, during this new year. I've got all garments on there, some sweaters, a couple tees, and a tank, so we'll see if I get through all of them, but that is one of my goals, is to complete all 9 patterns on my Make 9. I would love to knit seasonally, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I would love to, you know, knit the sweaters in the winter, get into tanks, tees, cardigans throughout the spring, summer, and fall, and then back into pullovers at the end of the year. I would love to, the next goal on here, knit up my Ireland yarn before the next trip. I purchased a good amount of yarn while I was in Ireland, and I would love to get some of that knit up so that I could, you know, bring it on the next trip in the form of a garment, kind of show off like, hey, we visited your mill last year and look what I made with your yarn. That would just be so fun, wouldn't it? And then lastly, in the knitting category, I would love to try out and use more non-wool yarns, or I would also include in here like wool blends, if it's like a wool silk or something like that. I think just one of the takeaways and one of the learnings from my Did You Wear Your Knits in 2023 video is that, you know, a lot of the yarn in my stash is wool. Wool nylon, 100% wool. That's what I've been buying because I've just been so into, you know, the pre-order collections of indie dyers. But what I actually end up wearing and what I would like to wear more of, or I should say, like, I have a hard time wearing fully wool pullover sweaters, especially at like a worsted or a higher weight. I've found that I don't necessarily like to just wear a wool plus a mohair or a wool plus a Surrey sweater, just with the climate that I'm in here in Southern California. And so I would love to knit more tees and tanks and, you know, potentially full-length sweaters, cardigans, and like combine that with the goal of using more wool blends or non-wool yarns. So we'll see what that turns into. I don't have any like set plans yet. I do have a couple patterns on my Make 9 that I talked about that use non-wool yarns. And so I definitely want to get into those, but I would love to also just learn more about like what the options are for these non-wool yarns that are out there, and really like what type of projects they work best in, if that makes sense. So a little learning moment there. Okay, those are my 4 knitting goals. Next on my list is new crafts. I want to learn some new crafts. For Christmas, I received here, let me show you. Okay. For Christmas, I received, received is a strong word. I made my husband order me this, and I ordered myself this and told him to wrap it and put it under the Christmas tree. But I've got 2 new crafts here. So I got an electric eel wheel nano 2 e-spinner, so I can learn hopefully spinning. This is the main one that I would love to get into. My goal, besides learn new crafts, is learn spinning on electric wheel, eel wheel, and become proficient if I like it. Definitely want to keep that note in there, because if I don't like it, I'm not going to force myself to do it. The other new craft I got, and I don't know, it's from Stephen Willett, and it's a mini loom. Like, I'm talking mini. I saw Allie from Explorer Knits post that she got a bigger one during Rhinebeck weekend or something, and I was really intrigued, and so I bought the mini tiny one. So definitely want to also learn weaving. And I felt like this tiny loom was like doable. It's not going to take up any space. And when we were in Ireland, we saw a lot of weaving being done at the mills that we visited, and so it was just like top of mind, and I really wanted to get into it. The other craft that I would love to get into is needle felting, and when we go on the 2024 Irish Knitting Tour, we're going to be doing a needle felting workshop with Sandra Coots at the Crafts of Ireland studio, so I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, that was number 2 category, new crafts. Number 3 category is yarn and my yarn stash. I kind of set probably an unrealistic goal here. But I would love to end 2024 with less than 500 skeins in my stash. We did a net negative goal last year. It didn't happen. And I'm above 400 right now. And I really feel like 500 is kind of like my capacity. Like, my shelves are full. When I get more yarn in, I don't know where I'm going to put it. There's literally no room on the shelves. And so I think about, you know, where I'm at now / getting to 500 is like my capacity. I literally can't get any more in unless I'm going to get another shelf, and there's no room right now for another shelf. So that's kind of my goal, is to stay around where I'm at now and not go over that 500 mark. The second part of this goal though, literally I wrote, don't freak out if this doesn't happen. Okay? That's for me, that's for you. Okay? Category number 4 of my goals is to wear my FOs. This plugs right into, you know, did I wear my knits this year? I am going to continue tracking all of the knits that I wear during the year, and I would love to wear my knits more than 52% of this year. That was my percentage from 2023, so I just want to get a little bit higher this year, which I think is a great goal and something that I can very easily measure and track, which I'm excited about. And last but not least, the last category on my Crafty Girl goal list is... Can you see it? Is it blurry? Have fun. If any of these goals start to not be fun, then if knitting starts to not be fun, then like what is the point? So that really should be number 1, is just to have fun with it. So those are my goals for 2024. I'm really excited to just continue on with this year, continue sharing with you. I will say I do have some goals in general for like Knit California, the brand, in terms of, you know, the subscriber count and Instagram numbers, brand partnerships, stuff like that. I didn't really want to share those all publicly right now, but just know that I do have them here. So, and I will be working towards those throughout the year as well. But again, I'm really excited to continue to share all of my projects, all of my progress, all of my updates with you this year. If this is one of the first videos you're watching of me, hi, welcome. I would love for you to subscribe and follow along with whatever this knitting journey is going to be. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!